left on I-95.
Hey guys, so Mom and I are in the truck right now, and we're sort of in and out of traffic, driving to Devon. It's my first time going to Devon. Diego and I are competing in the CDI 3-star, so not a CCI. Weird, switching caps as I competed in the CIC last week in a plantation, now competing in a CDI 3-star. So tomorrow, Thursday, we have a trot up. I'm not sure what time it is. I'll get more of a gauge on things, and I'll make sure to post about it. And my class starts on Friday. The St. George class starts on Friday at 8 a.m. and it lasts till about like 12:30. And then on Saturday, the I-1 class starts same time, 8, lasts through 12:30. And then if we qualify, which really is my main goal, I will be going, I'm hoping that we make it to the freestyles. So, and I can ride to reduce. Everybody asks me where I got my freestyle from, because, as you guys know, well, maybe you guys don't know, freestyles are quite expensive. You have the person that creates the music also choreographs. I mean, people pay tens of thousands of dollars for these freestyles. I've been very lucky to pay nothing. However, my freestyle I find is quite priceless, because it was the same freestyle that my mentor and my dressage coach of 20 years, Raju Marcochi, has used in his past CDIs, Olympics. So it's pretty cool, because he rode a Lipizan and had a horse that was very a Baroque style horse, typical like Diego, who is an Andalusian and 1/10 Appaloosa, which is kind of fun. So yeah, so if my main goal for Devon, guys, so the thing about Diego, he's a really special horse. He's my heart horse. Not a world beater, but he's taken me more places than most horses have taken me, and he's especially taken me places that I never thought I would be as an event rider. So he's sort of been my pathfinder in the dressage world. So my main goal is to make it to the freestyle at Devon. They take the top percentile. I don't know. Again, I'm sort of a novice at this, but they take the top percentile, and I think it's like the bottom to the top. It's not like you have to be top 5. So I don't think it's really hard to make it to the freestyle, but it's also not a given that you make it to the freestyle. So that is my goal. I'm setting realistic goals. The freestyle on Sunday is like 1:30 to I think 3:30, and all of this, guys, is going to be aired on the USCF network live streamed. So make sure to tune in. Again, I'm going to post all this on my Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and blah blah. So a little backstory on Diego I wanted to give you guys as I'm driving in this traffic is, and seatbelts, guys. So I got the ride on Diego about 10 years ago, and he's 16, or is he 17? They've been 10 or 11.
I'm not sure.
He's 16 years old.
Yeah, 16.
So yeah, it was about a 6-year-old I got I've had him for 10 years. His owner, Ann Wilson, actually contacted me on Craigslist because one of my students, Sam Silver, who used to do my website, said, this is when I was first starting out really teaching, said, why don't we just put some of your, let's advertise for you on Craigslist. So I did, and I got one hit on Craigslist, and it happened to be this lady named Ann Wilson, who asked if I would be interested in driving to her to teach lessons. So I was very happy to do that. And at this point in time, this would have been about 10.5 years ago, because I hadn't met Diego. It took 6 months in our relationship before I met Diego, because he was busy being broke by a cowboy. I started teaching her lessons. I drove to her place and started teaching her. And I remember quite specifically, I was at Rolex. I was getting ready for Rolex, gearing up at a local jumper show at Deep Run. And there was this like Pasofino looking horse with this cowboy that obviously stuck out because I was at a jumper show. and there's this like Pasifino horse being like ridden around by this Western big cowboy. And I was like, oh, look at that horse, it's so cute. And what, lo and behold, down the road, that was actually Diego, and he was taking him, getting him familiarized with horse shows because Anne wanted the horse to eventually be a dressage horse. That was what he was bred for. Diego was bred out of Wisconsin. I can't remember what his sire's name is, but his sire was Andalusian, and his mother was half Andalusian, half Appaloosa. So whatever you get the fractions of how much Appaloosa he is, probably that's why he's chestnut. But he's also quite small. Although in a lot of pictures people say he looks big. Don't let the crest fool you. So you know, I started riding Diego once he came back from the cowboy, and again, I was strictly eventing. I was not doing anything. I was doing 4-star eventing. I was not doing anything with pure dressage. I've always had an affinity to dressage, and I understood dressage to a certain extent. As Mark Phillips would say, I looked quite smart on a 20-meter circle, but I never had any appreciation for high-level dressage. So as I got to know Diego, I started him off with doing a lot of trot sets in Anne's fields, and my mom and Anne would follow me around in her golf cart to watch me in the trot sets. And we started off with schooling shows, and I did, you know, started him at first level. I don't even think I did training level. Gosh, knowing what I know now, I made so many mistakes with this poor horse. And I, you know, did second level, started taking him to recognized shows. Then he began to come down to Aiken. This is when I first went to Aiken for the first 2 years. He came down with me there, took him to third level. Little tidbit about Diego, he actually never lost a single national class in his dressage career. So he was always very, and it's not that he's this most amazing mover, he's just very, very obedient, and he always had a really nice clean change. That is I was very thankful for Kim Severson for helping me with the changes, because I could not get the thing to do a flying lead change. I was jumping him over things like little logs and pulling him, and God bless him, I couldn't get him to fly change. At one point, because as you know, he's a very different breed from the typical thoroughbreds, or even some of the half-blood horses that I've ridden in the past, or even the Irish horses. He's very lazy. He's not a typical PRE. The PRE are the purebred Spanish horses from Spain. Not to sound redundant. And a lot of those horses can be quite hot. He's not. He's quite lazy. Anybody that knows Flags or has ridden Flags on a trot set or a hack, he's quite lazy. Until he's not. He's bucked a few of my working students off.
Yeah.
He's got a good buck in him. But or if he wants to leave his stall, he doesn't have stall guards because he jumps over them, or if he doesn't want to be, he's not allowed to have a breast bar in front of him when he's being trailered, because he will jump over it. So he's very good at standing on his hind legs. Never with me on top of him though. He's always been very well behaved about that. So, you know, I guess the long story short of it was, you know, I've made every mistake in the book, from diet, trying to give him oats to make him hotter. I've broken the poor horse. I literally had him galloping with Al on his Rolex gallop sets to try to make him, if I make him really fit, maybe he'll be more wild. And to the point where he had a minor suspensory injury behind. And, you know, these horses are so patient with us because, you know, I've made literally every mistake in the book with this poor horse, from trying to teach it changes, you know, where it comes a lot more easier on a more sensitive horse, on the horses that I've learned on, or that I've taught with the thoroughbreds, but with an Andalusian / half Abbey, that's a lot more earthbound and quieter. Quiet's not even a good word. I had no idea about the use of the seat until I met, not until I met Rudia, but until I began working rigorously with Rudia at the FEI levels. You know, the horses taught me probably more than any horse in my barn combined, and that's including inventing, because he's taught me really how to ride all over again. And he's had so much patience with me to, you know, and Anne, my owner, has had so much patience with me. You know, sorry Anne, your horse is laying behind. Well, probably because I was galloping it with my 4-star fit event horse, you know, and going back, when you look back on things, you feel like you're so stupid. But my heart was in the right place, just was doing the wrong thing. And, you know, you learn through your mistakes. All of us as riders, you know, we learn through our mistakes, and you just only hope that you have a horse that's as kind and patient and as good of a teacher, that might not know as much as you, but teaches you through being patient with you as their trainer. And Diego has been that for me. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a backstory. And no, I'm not going to win. And you guys know I'm probably the most competitive person. I think I hate to lose more than I love to win. I hate losing. But my goal for Devon is quite simple, and it's to make it to Sunday. If I can make it down the center line on Sunday and literally dance with Diego in the freestyle, then my goal is complete. Yeah. You know, I'm not going for a top 10 finish. Look, I'm riding against horses that cost like more than most homes. So, you know, I'm just really proud to be representing our eventing crew, our eventing squad, and I hope that I can do it without being embarrassing. And you know, I always have to remind myself with the eventing horses that it's not about, you know, the destination, it's about the journey. Right. I had to remind myself that. I've had a few people remind me that last weekend with Patrick. And that's and this horse is proof in the pudding, because I'm not going there to win gold medals or to get in 90%. I'm going there to, you know, with obviously goals in my mind, but for me it's an honor to literally drive into Devon with a horse that, you know, that most people would see in the pasture and go like, oh, that's cute, you know, and he's shown up in Wellington at a CDI. In fact, he's in a, if you go to any of your Barnes & Noble and you look up the dressage calendar, Diego's March, and he's been very competitive in Wellington in the national classes, and he's won all over the Eastern Seaboard and I-1, and even taken up to a 70%, which is nothing to scoff at. But he's been my partner, and he's put up with my idiosyncrasies, and he's probably been my best teacher in my 34 years of riding than any horse put together. And I'm just really, really honored, and there's no other horse that I'd rather go with for my first time to Devon than Diego, because there's no other horse that I know more, and no other horse that knows me more. So I really hope that you guys can tune in, that you guys can cheer us on. And like I said, win, lose, or draw, sure, I'll be bummed out if we don't have, I'd love to ride clean tests all 3 days. But, you know, at the end of the day, I'm going to show up, we're going to show out, and we're going to perform to our very best. And where we might lack a little bit in the extended trot, we will make up for in
changes,
our sequence changes, and in our presentation, right? And he is a horse that probably has more heart than any of those horses there combined. And he's like an owl, but in the dressage world for me. So he's really special to me. And I hope that you guys, like I said, tune in, cheer us on, and I'm going to be doing my best job to represent and make everybody proud. And
what's your mom going to be doing? Video.
Well, Mom's going to be videoing, but because it's live streamed, Mom's going to have to not video so much. But she'll be helping out with picture taking and keeping you up to date. And I'm sure Mom's going to be doing a lot of lives as well. And I'll probably have her do a couple lives on my Instagram to keep you guys up to date.
Someone asked, what riding boots do you use?
Oh, so if you guys look at my IG story, you'll see the brand new boots that Fabri just made me.
Whoa, are they gorgeous! Woo!
So I'm sponsored by Fabri boots. They're Italian boots, and I will be riding in my patent leather boots that are also Fabri. And because I get to wear my navy blue shad belly that I've had, it's like Old Faithful. It's a Picure that my mom bought me, gosh, many years ago, and that thing has seen its course, man. Wow, it's taken me to Burley, it's taken me to many Rolexes, In fact, it's been on Karina Erickson's back, Heather Bain's back for their first 1 stars. Now Emma Ayer's back for her first 1 star, along with my dressage boots. And so that's been a great, I'm hoping to retire it someday soon, or at least use it as backup, because my next color of choice will be a gray shad belly, but I gotta save some pennies for that. But yeah, so I'll be using my Fabre dressage boots. And again, if you guys want to see a really cool pair, look on my IG story, because Luca just sent me those in the mail today, and I'm super excited to be getting those, and I will be wearing those for the championships next weekend. I have the BLMs with Diego's got a really good schedule coming up. He's got Devon this weekend, the CDI 3-star. Next weekend he has the BLMs, where he'll be competing just in I1 and I1 freestyle. And then and Atlas will be competing in the 4th level BLMs. And then Matisse will be doing 3rd one. And then the following weekend are gigs. And last year I was honored and really surprised. I think most people were surprised, including everybody I was competing against. And mostly surprised was probably Radu, my coach, who didn't even come, because he was like, yeah, she's not got any chance. Atlas won the gigs last year, and so I got to go to the USDF finals. So my goals are a little bit more lofty for Atlas at the gigs this year. He'll be competing in the 4th level gigs in Lexington. Diego will be competing in, again, I1 gigs and I1 freestyle. And Matisse will be doing 3rd level 1 again. And so you'll be seeing those beautiful boots being used wildly. I cannot wait. And my goal next year for Devon is to have both Atlas and Matisse here. Hopefully Diego will be back again. And it'd be really cool to have 3 horses in the CDI at Devon next year. So fingers crossed, that's way down the road. But for now, the focus is on Diego. And we have trot up tomorrow. We're gonna do trot up very eventer style, because the dressage people, although their horses are amazing and gorgeous, they don't like to get too dressed up for their trot ups. Well, we do. So I haven't had many trot ups this year. So I'm going to, you know, typical lay style. I'm gonna have my booties on, a little dress, a cute dress, and a nice little belt, and we're gonna go for it and hopefully go for best dressed, and matches my horse really nicely. Hope everybody approves. And again, be rooting for us, and I will post this and save this and probably post it on my YouTube if anybody wants to check back on this story. And again, root for us.
One girl asked, like, what do you do about any tips on show nerves?
Good tips on show nerves. Well, mine's probably not the best tip, but I like to play Candy Crush. And it's a true story. I, especially before cross country, or if I'm thinking too hard about what I need to do, and I want to take myself out of the zone, because there's a time where you need to be in the zone, and there's a time where you need to like take yourself out of that zone, and you have to find something that does that for you. Some people like to play music. I think music gets me actually more zoned, so I like to play Candy Crush, and it drives my mom crazy. Yep. But it really helps me zone out, if you will.
And this is what the dog does when he sees her pull her cell phone out. He's out.
I also like to watch, so for instance, my dressage shows for added inspiration, I like to watch, I favorite all my best dressage tests, and I replay those. So, okay, this is what I liked about my tests this time. This is what I want to emulate. I could do that better, right? So, for my freestyle, just because you have to be in sync with the music, I'll be watching my freestyle quite a bit. Obviously not before my first 2 tests. I'm going to go back and replay my St. George test that I did a couple weekends ago at Rosemount to prepare for that. I want to stay in the now, so I will be focusing on one test at a time. So as I prepare for the St. George test, focus just on the St. George test. Then when that's over, okay, no matter how good or how bad it was, that goes away. Then you got to focus on the I1 test. I'm going to go back and study a couple videos that I really liked. I try not to watch the videos that were bad, And some people might do opposite. This is just what works for me. I'm really much a positive reinforcement person. So if I watch things that didn't go well, it just puts that in my head, and I usually find that if that's in my head, then that's how I ride. So I try to watch things that went really well, because if that's the last thing in my mind before I go and enter that test, then I usually ride that way. So
you have one last question too. Favorite dressage saddle model?
County. For sure, County all the way.
Epiphany or something?
County came out with a new Epiphany, which is hands down. I used to ride I still ride in the Fusion on Al. But my favorite, Gina's a genius.
Yes.
And just came out with the Epiphany. And, you know, unfortunately they're not any used ones out because they're brand new. And I don't think people are going to be parting with their Epiphanies anytime soon. But County is very, very good about financing. Gina's told me, for some of my students that couldn't necessarily afford a brand new saddle because they're quite expensive, he said literally no money down, they will finance anything. They will finance anything. And the Epiphanies are very, very well worth the try. They're much like a custom, and I know customs are the biggest saddles in the dressage industry, and I love a custom. But I have to say, with this new Epiphany saddle from County, where the customs lack and a little bit of the comfort of the seat, County has always had the best seat, and now they've got the thigh blocks, and now they've got the seat, and everything's put together, and it's beautiful. So it's hands down my favorite saddle.
For 7 miles.
Awesome.
Awesome, guys. Enjoy. Keep in touch, and if anybody has any questions, make sure that you send me a DM and cheer us on. Thanks, guys. And once you end it, Mom, there's a share and a save. Do you see the save?